Have you ever stopped to, well, really think about how fast the global energy scene is changing? It feels like just yesterday, didn't it, that we were all about traditional fuels, and now, boom, the future is racing at us, and it looks like it's going to be powered by these amazing sustainable solutions. Today, we're going to dig into that. Welcome to Deep Dive. We're zoning in on the solar photovoltaic market today. Our plan here is to explore this really comprehensive outlook report we've got from Cognitive Market Research. We want to pull out more than just the numbers, get the real insights into the market's huge growth, where it's heading, and really get a handle on the regional and even country-level trends for solar PV. Looking at 2021 all the way out to 2033. The aim: to give you a clear but thorough picture of where this vital sector is going and, well, what it all means. And why should you care? Well, because understanding this market is basically a shortcut to knowing what's up with a key part of global energy transition. Honestly, it's packed with surprising facts, trends that could shake up everything from world economies to maybe even the price of electricity in your own neighborhood. Let's start with the big picture, shall we?
Okay, the global picture. What's really fascinating is just the sheer scale of growth for the solar photovoltaic market. So back in 2021, the market pulled in close to $260 billion. That's $259.438 billion to be exact. By 2025, that number is expected to jump quite a bit to nearly $387 billion. But here's where it gets, well, really interesting. Looking further out, by 2033, they're projecting a market size of almost $860 billion. That's $859.767 billion. It's growing at a pretty robust compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about 10.5%. I mean, just to give you a sense of scale, that means the market is basically on track to more than triple in just over 10 years.
Wow. That kind of steady double-digit growth, that really signals a huge shift, doesn't it? It's more than just growth, like you said. It sounds like a fundamental rewiring of how we power everything. Suggests massive investment, reshaping whole industries. So where's this energy revolution really taking hold? Let's maybe zoom in on the region, starting with North America. That region showing a really strong path, projected to grow from, about $82 billion in 2021 to over $261 billion by 2033, keeping up a 10.2% CAGR.
Exactly. And within North America, the U.S. is, well, clearly the dominant force. It's projected to nearly triple its market value, from $58 billion in 2021 to around $179 billion by 2033. That's growing at a solid 10% year. Canada is also looking very healthy, set to more than triple its market too, from about $17 billion, $16.873 billion to over $62 billion by 2033. That's an impressive 11.3% CAGR, higher than the U.S. actually, and Mexico is definitely contributing significantly too. Steady expansion heading towards almost $20 billion by 2033.
Fascinating. Really strong, consistent growth right across North America. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic now. Europe, often seen as a leader in renewables policy, right? And it's showing its own powerful climb, growing from roughly $64 billion in 2021 to over $206 billion by 2033. But a 10.3% CGR there. What jumps out at you in the European figures?
Oh, absolutely. Europe's a really dynamic market for solar PV. Take the UK, for instance. It's moving ahead significantly, projected to nearly quadruple its market value, actually, to almost $39 billion by 2033. That's up from about $10.7 billion in 2021, an 11.2% CAGR there. Germany's another giant, expected to more than triple its market to over $51 billion by 2033. Consistent double-digit growth, around 10.6%. And yeah, France and Italy are showing strong growth too, around 9.8% and 10% CAGR respectively. But what's kind of striking is the speed in some smaller markets, like Luxembourg. Get this, it has the highest CGR in the whole region, over 12.2%. Forecast to jump from under $1 billion to over $3.5 billion.
Wow, Luxembourg.
Yeah, it often points to, a really focused policy push or big new projects in these smaller, maybe more agile economies. And even the general rest of Europe category is surging, an outstanding 17.2% CAGR. That shows it's really spreading wide beyond the usual big players.
Those are some truly incredible growth rates, especially in those less expected places. Really shows how widespread this is becoming. Okay, next up, let's head over to the Asia-Pacific region. Another massive player in this whole shift. It's projected to climb from around $45 billion in 2021 to nearly $158 billion by 2033, a strong 10.9% CAGR.
Right, Asia-Pacific, it's home to some huge global players, and you definitely see that in the numbers. China obviously dominates the region, expected to more than triple its market size to over $50 billion by 2033. That's an 11.1% CAGR. Shows their continued lead in, well, making and installing solar panels. India is also showing really impressive growth, surging from about $6.3 billion to almost $25 billion by 2033. That's an 11.7% CAGR. You can see the drivers there. Massive energy needs and really ambitious renewable targets. Interestingly, Taiwan actually holds the region's highest CAGR, almost 13%.
Higher than India and China.
Yep, in terms of growth rate. Projected to expand significantly from around $1.4 billion to nearly $6 billion. And then you've got other key contributors like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, all showing solid double-digit growth. It just reinforces how pivotal the region is.
The numbers across these areas are just, well, eye-opening. The scale in Asia-Pacific is incredible.
Okay, let's shift our focus now. South America. The market there is also showing substantial growth, moving from about $33 billion in 2021 to a projected, $101.7 billion by 2033, almost a 9.9% CAGR.
South America's market is definitely robust. Brazil's leading the charge there. Forecast to more than triple its market, hitting over $38 billion by 2033, about a 10% CAGR. Argentina is another strong performer, growing to over $22 billion by 2033, with the KGR slightly over 10.2%. Colombia is also on a big upward curve, projected to reach over $15.6 billion. That's nearly 10.5% growth per year. And you've got countries like Peru and Chile chipping in, notably too, with steady growth. Shows the whole continent is really committed to boosting its renewable capacity. Right, from one high growth area to another, let's check out the Middle East market.
Yeah.
Now this region, traditionally, fossil fuels, right?
Yeah.
But it's on a powerful upward path in solar, growing from roughly $20 billion in 2021 to over $71 billion by 2033. That's backed by an impressive 11.2% CAGR. What's driving that kind of growth there?
The Middle East is definitely one to watch for solar. The numbers show a really intense focus on economic diversification. Saudi Arabia is surging, projected to nearly quadruple its market, actually, almost $25 billion by 2033. That's an 11.8% CAGR.
Unbelievable.
Wow. And the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, also seeing strong growth, set to quadruple its market, too, from around $3.2 billion to over $12 billion by 2033, about an 11.7% CAGR. This really rapid expansion in both those countries and others like Turkey, Egypt, Qatar, it points to these big national visions, large-scale renewable projects trying to, future-proof their economies beyond oil. It's a pretty significant pivot.
That pivot in the Middle East really is remarkable. Okay, finally, let's turn our attention to Africa. Africa's solar photovoltaic market is also projected to see significant growth, expanding from about $15.5 billion in 2021 to nearly $61 billion by 2033. That's an impressive 11.6% CAGR. What are the key drivers we're seeing on the continent?
Africa's showing strong momentum in solar. It's often seen as a chance to sort of leapfrog the old grid systems. South Africa is leading the continent if you look at the CAGR, 12.1% growth rate, projected to nearly quadruple its market as well, reaching over $29 billion by 2033, up from $7 billion. Now, Nigeria, while it has a slightly lower CAGR at 11.99%, it's actually leading the region in overall market value, forecast at over $22 billion in 2033. So this growth across the continent really signals the huge potential for decentralized energy and expanding power access in these rapidly developing economies.
So putting it all together, what does this all mean? We've seen incredible sustained growth everywhere. If we connect the dots, what's fundamentally driving this massive global surge in solar PV?
Right, the big picture drivers. Well, if we boil it down, this consistent, strong growth seems to come from three main things. First, there's just the rising global embrace of clean energy. It's fueled by, growing environmental awareness, the need to tackle climate change. That's pretty clear. Second, technology keeps getting better. Ongoing advancements are making solar PV panels more efficient and critically cheaper. So it's actually competing head-to-head with traditional sources now. And finally, there's just this ever-increasing global demand for reliable, renewable power, especially as populations grow and economies develop. It's really clear that both developed and emerging economies are playing a big part. With, like we saw, standout growth, particularly in Asia-Pacific, the Middle East, and Africa, where energy demand and the need for new infrastructure are especially high.
What a deep dive indeed. We've really unpacked this powerful, widespread growth of the solar photovoltaic market across every single region: North America, Europe, Asia-Pacific, South America, the Middle East, Africa. The numbers truly paint a picture. It looks like a global commitment to renewables that isn't just speeding up, it's fundamentally reshaping our world.
And that does raise an important question for you, the listener. What does this rapid, widespread growth in solar actually mean for your life? How might this fundamental energy shift shape, say, future job markets, or impact infrastructure development where you live, or maybe even change what you pay for electricity? It's worth considering how this massive reengineering of our energy foundation impacts, well, all of our futures.
Absolutely. And just to mention, all the incredible insights we shared in this deep dive came directly from the Global Solar Photovoltaic Market Outlook 2021-2033 report by Cognitive Market Research.